The following audio is the English version of my tribute to Professor Joseph Owona, who passed away on the 6th of January 2024. It was originally delivered in French on STV Cameroon television on 11th of January. When a person dies, whether a big man or a small man, as we say back home, his or her biological family suffers most from the loss of their loved one. I imagine the pain that the family of the late Professor Joseph Owona must be feeling with the passing away of their patriarch, their father, grandfather, uncle, nephew, cousin. To them, I extend my profound condolences and pray that God may give them the strength to endure their great loss. For several years, Professor Joseph Owona and I served at the Faculty of Law and Economics of the University of Yaoundé. He in the Department of Public Law, and I in the Department of English Private Law. He was a brilliant scholar whose intellectual prowess was acknowledged by everyone in academic circles in Cameroon and abroad. As we all noticed, in the 48 hours following his passing away, tributes praising him for his intellectual and academic excellence came from everywhere. He was commonly regarded as the architect of the constitution under which Cameroon is governed today. He deserved that accolade since he chaired the technical committee that was set up by the Tripartite Conference in November 1992 to draft a new constitution for Cameroon, as well as the Constitutional Consultative Committee that was subsequently established by the President of the Republic. It is Prof who finalized the draft constitution that was submitted to the government and ultimately adopted and promulgated in 1996. I was a member of both the technical committee established by the Tripartite Conference and the Constitutional Consultative Committee appointed by the President of the Republic. At that time, I was the National Secretary for Economic and Social Affairs of the Central Committee of the Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, the ruling party. But I disagreed with my fellow party member and chairperson of the Technical Committee, Professor Owona, over certain aspects of our work in the Technical Committee. Furthermore, together with Professor Carlson Anyangwe and the late Barrister Sam Ekontang Elad, I boycotted the entire proceedings of the Constitutional Consultative Committee because we wanted the new constitution to address two major issues that plagued the governance of our country. One was the troubling phenomenon of the domination, marginalization, subjugation, and assimilation of the territory and citizens originating from the former southern Cameroons under the prevailing governance system. The other was the excessive centralization of power within the system piloted by the President of the Republic, pursuant to the unlimited powers given to him under the Constitution in force. We advocated the restoration of the federal system of government in Cameroon to address both of these issues and to create a greater balance of power between the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary within an appropriate constitutional framework. To that end, three of us, Anyangwe, Ekuntang Elad, and I, submitted for discussion by the Technical Committee a draft federal constitution as an alternative to the highly centralized unitary state draft constitution proposed by Professor Owona. Unfortunately, preferring to foster the will of the powers that be, rather than to address the ills plaguing our governance apparatus, Prof rejected our proposal outright, disdainfully and arrogantly labeling it on national television as a copy of the Nigerian Constitution. Many viewers of STV, especially of the older generation, would certainly remember my interview with Mr. Elundu Engama on the CRTV's Actualité Hebdo program of Sunday, the 23rd of May, 1993. Today, it is available in full on YouTube. In the course of that interview, I exposed and publicly denounced Professor Owona's manipulative handling of the constitutional drafting process. It can be observed objectively and based on the available evidence that the Constitution that he gave us in 1996 is at the root of most of the governance challenges our country faces today, some of which threaten to tear our nation apart. On this matter, history will remember this brilliant man as it shall see fit. For my part, the last time I met Professor Joseph Owona was in 2019 at the major national dialogue held in Yaoundé. In the speech that I delivered on that occasion, I reminded the audience that if my former colleagues, my former comrades of the CPDM had paid attention to my warnings 30 years ago against the domination, marginalization, subjugation, and assimilation of Anglophones in this country, we would have averted the calamity that we witness today in the Northwest and Southwest regions. The professor listened attentively. At the end of my speech, as I walked back to my seat, he got up, embraced me warmly in front of everyone, and asked me for a copy of my speech that I provided him in hard and soft versions. He was so moved. Professor Owona and I maintained a very cordial personal relationship. I sent him New Year wishes on the 1st of January that he probably did not get a chance to read, not knowing that at that moment he was on his dying bed. In the final analysis, the great Professor Owona was a human being like each of us, with his strengths and his weaknesses. He came, he lived, he served, and now he is gone. May his soul rest in perfect peace. Dr. Simon Munzo.